basically what I want to do is just, you know, I don't know what I want to do. Let me just think about this for a second. It's Rose and welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan and another cook with me video. Today we are back in the kitchen. Okay, this is where it all happens. If you are unfamiliar with cook with me videos, it's pretty self-explanatory. We basically spend a bit of time in the kitchen and we try to make something, and usually these are recipes that I haven't really tried to make before, and we just kind of, you know, go with the flow and see what happens. So today I kind of want to try making something that I made the other day. It was basically a hot soba noodle soup, and I know you guys are probably sick of seeing the soba noodles, but I love soba noodles. Okay, what can I say? But you guys can pretty much use whatever noodles you want. This is basically just the broth, and I'm gonna show you guys like how I'm gonna put together the broth. And what I'm planning on doing is basically meal prepping the broth. So like prepping a broth that you can keep in the fridge for a prolonged period of time in like a nice jar, and that way anytime you want some kind of a hot noodle soup, you can take that jar out and make a soup very, very quickly. So I got this idea because I have this jar here already of soba noodle dipping sauce. So this is actually a cold dipping sauce. It's like a Japanese thing, okay, just for context. Basically, Japanese people make soba noodles and it's cold, and then they dip things in this cold broth type thing that's very salty, and it's really delicious. And I got the recipe from a website, which I'll link down below. So I made this like probably 2 months ago, even though the recipe said it'll keep in the fridge for a week, but I mean, it's all good, okay? So yeah, I made this like a long time ago, but it's still good. I think it's because it's so salty that it just kind of, you know, keeps, and most of the ingredients that I use in here are not really like things that will go bad or expire, at least not in, you know, the short term. So I got the idea from having this in the fridge, and once in a while I'll make like cold soba noodles and I'll use this dipping sauce to enjoy my soba noodles with. But the other day, this is turning into a story. I'm sorry, I know you guys wanna watch me cook, okay? You're just gonna have to listen to the intro, okay? It's important. So, the other day, okay, to give you context, the other day I wanted some soba noodles, but I really wanted a hot soup instead of a cold soup, or not a cold soup, instead of a cold noodle dish. I wanted a hot, soupy noodle dish. And I thought, I'm just going to use some of this to make a hot broth and then just add a few little ingredients in there, and it turned out amazing. Here's a little photo. There is no rule. Like, you do not have to use this only for cold soup, okay? Why do I keep saying soup? You don't have to only use this for cold noodles. You can alter it just a little bit to make it into a hot noodle dish. Also, guys, if you haven't clicked that like button already, click it. I know you haven't watched the video yet, but you're gonna have to trust me here, okay? You're probably gonna like it, So here are the ingredients you will need for the broth. So I'm gonna use about 4 pieces of kelp. This is dried kelp, also known as dashima in Korean, and I think it's called kombu. Is it called kombu in Japanese? I don't know, but it's called dried kelp in Korean, or in English. Yes. If you don't have this, you can also use kelp powder, which would quicken the process, but I want to make like a deeper tasting broth situation. So we're gonna use dashima, aka dried kelp. We're also going to be using some mirin, which is a sweet cooking seasoning. This is a Japanese cooking seasoning that I like to use in multiple types of dishes. We are going to also be using a mixture of tamari, which is a soy sauce equivalent. So it's a gluten-free soy sauce, but I don't have enough. As you can see here, we're running low. So we're gonna mix in some of this other soy sauce, which is, I think this is going to be a pretty rich soy sauce. So I think I could use probably a little bit less, but this is a Korean soy sauce, but you can use any sort of soy sauce that you want, or a soy sauce equivalent if you are gluten-free. Here you go. Oh, and fun fact, guys, soba noodles are buckwheat noodles, and I know that it says wheat in the name, but buckwheat noodles, buckwheat, let me try this again. Soba noodles are buckwheat noodles, and buckwheat noodles, even though it has the word wheat in it, is actually gluten-free. So if you are gluten-free, soba noodles are completely gluten-free. okay? I think. Don't sue me if I'm wrong. Just do a quick Google search. And we have also some water. Now, those are pretty much all you need, but I have this thing that I have been collecting, and can you guess what this is? Kind of looks creepy, doesn't it? So these are like green onion heads or scallion heads. By the way, what's the difference between scallion and green onion? I should probably know this. I actually saw one of Mommy Tang's videos the other day, not the other day, like a long time ago. And she was saying how she saves the heads of the green onions that she uses and dries them up so that she can use them in broth. So I thought, hey, I've been collecting these green onion heads for like a really long time. I never actually used it. So maybe I'll try adding some of this into the broth. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be fine, hopefully. This is optional. You don't have to do this. You can just stick to these 3 ingredients, mainly the soy sauce, mirin, and kelp. So let's go to the stove and let's see what happens. We are now in front of my stove. So we're just gonna turn this on. Basically what I wanna do is just, you know, I don't know what I wanna do. Let me just think about this for a second. All right, so I don't know if there's like a rule as to like what I should add first, but because I don't like to follow rules, I'm just going to add everything together and then bring it to a boil. And then when it comes to a boil, I'm going to simmer it for a while to let the flavors get married. So we got the water on, or not water on, we got the heat on. I'm gonna add 1 cup of water. I'm gonna also add about 4 pieces of this dried kelp. You know what, let's throw in an extra. And then we're also gonna do about half a cup of soy sauce. So once again, I'm mixing both tamari and actual soy sauce. Next, we're adding mirin, half a cup of mirin as well. Remember that this is a high concentrated, very salty broth. So it's not meant to be, you know, used as soup. So you're going to have to water it down. And then we're gonna add about, or you know, I'm gonna add about 7 pieces of the scallions. So these are dried up scallions or green onions, whatever they're called. And then at this point, I'm just going to stir it quickly and let it come to a nice boil. All right, so now as you can see, it has come to a nice boil. I'm just going to turn it down into a low heat so that I can simmer it. I might actually cover this up and simmer it on low heat for about 15-20 minutes. I mean, it smells really good right now though, because soy sauce smells so good. So we're just gonna cover that up and let that simmer. All right, you guys, so while that broth is being prepared, while the flavors are making love, we are going to prepare the rest of the ingredients that we are going to use for the actual soup itself. So I'm just going to be making 1 serving for me, for myself. You can pretty much add whatever you would like into your soup. It's obviously up to you. You don't even have to make this like a noodle dish. You can make it into whatever you would like. You've got a nice broth, so just work with that base. So these are, like I mentioned, buckwheat noodles. You can find these in Asian grocery stores. You can find it online. I'll leave a few links down below as to where you can find these. These are like a must-have in my kitchen. I am obsessed. And also, if you guys want more soba noodle recipes, I do have an ebook, guys. My Asian vegan recipes ebook. And it's not just noodle recipes, but there's a lot of noodle recipes. So link for that will be down below as well. Anyways, soba noodles, 1 serving. 1 serving. It's very convenient because they always kind of like measure out the servings for you, so you can always just take one little thing out and you know that is going to be good for you. We're also gonna add some tofu, of course. I have some soft tofu here. Just gonna use a little bit of that. For the vegetables, I have some leftover baby bok choy. I got 2 baby bok choy heads left over. I feel that I can just use 1 maybe. Okay. This is like perfect for this soup, I feel. Also, other alternatives for noodles, you could also use, I think udon noodles would go really well with this, and also ramen noodles would go well with this as well. You can use whatever noodles you want. It smells good. I might need to wash this first, okay? I feel like this recipe is like, it's Asian comfort food. You know, you people in the Western world, you have your chicken noodle soup. I know, I do live in the Western world now. But you can take the girl out of Asia, but you can't take the Asia out of the girl, okay? And also, if you guys want a video on tofu, I already have one. Links down below, okay? So I think I'm gonna use like 1/3 of this tofu situation. Oh, you know why? Because I have something else I want to add into the dish. So when I made this soup the other day, I added in edamame beans. Woo, my favorite. This dish is very much encompassing a lot of my favorite ingredients. We got the buckwheat noodles I use all the time, baby bok choy I love. I also love tofu. I also love edamame beans. These are a type of soybean, and I buy the ones that are shelled, as always. They're kept in the freezer, and they're really, really easy to take out and cook with it, or just eat it as a snack. It's so simple. I love it so, so much. And the other day, because I didn't have tofu, I just added some edamame because I wanted to add a little bit more sustenance and some protein to the meal, so that's why I added that. And then we good to go. So I'm just gonna chop the tofu into smaller, bite-sized pieces. And I'm actually gonna be filming a mukbang video after this, eating this delicious dish. That will be posted probably next Monday. Whatever Monday is following, whatever following Monday, okay? Whenever I post this, actually, I don't know, I can't promise anything. It'll be posted at some point. Ooh, and perfect timing. All right, let's watch this thing. Oh wow, it smells delicious. Whew, it smells rich and very salty. That's what we want, okay? All right, so here we have some very dark concentrated soup. It smells delicious. The green onions, I don't know if it did anything, but I added it in there anyway. Maybe I should have added a little bit more, but whatever. This is now your base. You can pretty much do whatever you want with this base. I'm going to strain it, so I'm gonna take out the little bits and pieces, and then I can store some of this, and then I can also have some of this right now. Okay. So of course you can make like double this amount. I didn't want to make too much because I'm moving soon and I just don't want to deal with extra stuff. I already got enough food in the fridge, okay? So now I'm going to use some of this for my actual soup, and then I'm going to save the rest in a jar that I can have later. All right, let's attempt to pour this without spilling it. Not sure how much I'll need for one serving. It's quite heavily concentrated. So I think I just need a little bit, and I'm just gonna need to add a little bit of water. I might need more than this, just a little more. All right, so I got a little bit for my soup. Maybe it's too much. You know what, I'm gonna start with less. Ooh, yum. Now we can cook the buckwheat noodles. So it's really easy to cook the buckwheat noodles. All you have to do is bring some water to a boil and then add in the noodles and then cook for about 5 minutes. But it all depends on the brand that you're using. You should just follow the instructions on your packaging, yes. We're waiting for the water to come to a boil, and we're also going to be making that broth into kind of my individual thing, okay? So I'm gonna add a bit more water into here because I'm making like a noodle soup, okay? So a bit of water in there. Water's in there. I'm gonna turn this heat to a high. Depending on how salty you want it, you wanna add however much water, however little water that you want. Or you can add a little bit more of the salty broth if you need, okay? We're also gonna add my bok choy. And then of course you can pretty much season it or add whatever other ingredients you want to add. Last time I actually added a bit of grated ginger, which was really nice, but I don't have ginger, so I might add a little bit of ginger powder actually. Ginger is great. Where's my ginger? Ginger! So we're just gonna add like maybe like a tiny amount, maybe like a teaspoon, maybe not even half a teaspoon. Okay. And last time I also added a bit of minced garlic, which I have in my fridge at all times, so it's really easy for me to add a bit of minced garlic. Woo! I don't know why I just smelled that. But if you guys want a little hack on how to always have garlic available, instead of always having to like chop garlic, which is annoying, then I will link a video down below to give you guys a little hack. But for now, I'm just adding a bit of minced garlic. And another very optional thing that I'm going to add is going to be some Korean chili flakes. This is gochugaru, which is Korean red chili pepper flakes. Whew, why do I keep smelling this? This is also a must-have in Korean cooking, Korean cuisine. I'm gonna add a little bit. This is again very optional, but I like to have a little kick to my noodles. So it looks like my water is boiling for the noodles, so let's stick in those noodles into that water. And what I'm also gonna do is add the frozen edamame in with the noodles. So while everything is boiling, I'm going to also chop some fresh green onion as well, so we can add that into the soup. All right. Yum! I'm so excited. So I realized I almost forgot to add in the tofu, so we're gonna do that right now. We're gonna add in the tofu now. And we're just gonna add in like half of the green onions now. And then we can just top the soup with the rest. And it looks like the buckwheat noodles are done, so let me drain everything. Usually if I were to have the noodles cold, obviously I would rinse it in cold water, but I'm not gonna rinse it because obviously we're having a hot soup today. Yay! Are we ready for the moment of truth? We got some hot noodles coming right up. Ooh! Yeah. All right, and this broth, you guys, it looks so delicious. So we're just gonna throw this all in. Ooh! Oh my God, I'm so excited. I need to take a few pictures for the gram and for the thumbnail, but look at that. Ooh. I feel like I made the perfect amount of soup. And then we're gonna top it with some more green onion. I really like my green onions, if you can't tell. So, green onions. And there you have this delicious looking soup. All right, you guys, so there is my delicious looking soup. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It smells so good. And I just can't wait to do this. So I'm gonna actually take this and go eat it in my new mukbang video that I'm going to film. But I thought I can't just completely tease you without tasting the broth. So let me taste this broth, okay? It's kind of heavy. So I'm gonna taste this beautiful, rich looking broth. Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah, I feel like I added the perfect amount of water. It's a bit salty. It definitely has that soy sauce taste, which is delicious. It has a little bit of sweetness from that mirin. It's nice and rich. Oh, it's so good. And I think next time I'm gonna actually add in some more of these scallions to see if that does anything. Other than that, I really like it. Oh, another thing that I would probably add more of is ginger. So I would probably add some grated ginger into this. But oh my gosh, guys, this is the soup. It is going to be delicious. I'm so excited to eat it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna link below the recipe that I used for the broth and other ideas for what you can add into this noodle soup. And of course, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this journey to making this delicious bowl of soup. If you did enjoy it, please give this video a big thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, of course, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!